Good evening. How's everybody doing? It's Sunday night. DuEwa Frazier here for an episode of That's Code. This is more so my entertainment, pop culture podcast where I talk about films, things dealing with entertainment, things dealing with, movies, music, some celebrity news and whatnot. I'm going to, though, be a bit restrictive on what I say tonight because I am going to be talking about a court case. So that's going to be my third topic. I didn't really promote this podcast because I decided a few days ago that I was going to do it. And I've been really, really busy with my other podcast, Afrofutures. So let me go ahead and shout out my new book, Introduction to Afrofuturism, edited by yours truly, and Mixtape in Black Literature and Arts, out now. It came out in August, actually. So myself and contributors are actually actively promoting it and, doing our podcasts and writing and features and all that just to promote our chapters and whatnot. It's an awesome book. I'm very proud of it. So many great chapters, scholarship, poetry, creative nonfiction. There's some dramatic plays in here. So stay tuned for the interviews that I will have. And check out at Afrofuturism Book on IG where you can follow updates, follow myself and some of the contributors you'll see posts with them. So I just wanted to shout this out because I actually have an interview, another podcast following this one with one of my contributors tonight who's in the book. So stay tuned. But in any case, tonight I wanted to talk about a few different topics. One, piano lesson, the piano lesson that is currently on Netflix, that was actually just released, I think, on Friday on Netflix. So I think it's charting on Netflix as a top 5 or top 10 movie to watch right now. And I had the chance to watch it this weekend. I'm very impressed. Shout out to the Washington family and kudos to them because Denzel has his true legacy in his kids, definitely. So currently, Piano Lesson is on Netflix right now. Just to give you a bit of a synopsis about it, it is based on the notable play by the late genius African-American playwright, August Wilson. And the play was written, produced, published in 1987, and it was the fourth play in August Wilson's Pittsburgh cycle. I last saw one of his plays on Broadway in New York, Gem of the Ocean, featuring the great Ruben Santiago and the great Felicia Rashad. That was some years ago. I grew up really kind of going to theater and seeing dance performances and things like that. So August Wilson was definitely some of the plays that I watched as a kid. And of course, becoming an English educator, being able to at times teach drama and teach August Wilson in a cycle of Black plays has been awesome for me as well. So going back to the current adaptation, the film adaptation, the Piano Lesson was actually the screenwriter of it and director is Malcolm Washington, one of Denzel Washington's sons, and he adapted the Piano Lesson from the stage to the screen. As I mentioned, the play is a part of late August Wilson's masterful American century cycle work about Black American life in the 20th century. And also, Denzel Washington, I believe, is one of the play's executive producers. His son, John David Washington, acts in the play. And John David Washington from Black Klansman, which Spike Lee wrote and produced, or rather directed. And also John David Washington has been in some other Netflix films as well. One with Zendaya. Some years ago. So John David Washington is definitely making his mark as an actor. And other actors who feature in the film, let me just give you a list of some of the others here. So we have John David Washington and also Danielle Detweiler. who features in the film. And they really were main characters. And also Samuel Jackson plays a wonderful part in this film. So we've got Sam Jackson, John David Washington, Ray Fisher, Michael Potts, Erykah Badu makes an appearance. She's in a scene where she's singing and she looks beautiful. Skylar Ali Smith, of course, Danielle Detweiler, and Corey Hawkins all feature in the current film adaptation of The Piano Lesson. So just to tell you a bit more about the work, a family clashes over an heirloom piano, and there's a battle between a brother and sister played by Danielle Detweiler and also John David Washington, and one of them hopes to sell it while the other one refuses to give it up. Unleashes haunting truths about how the past is perceived and who defines a family legacy. So very interesting. According to Netflix, as Netflix has an article about it, Denzel Washington has a deep connection to Wilson's work, and he directed and starred in 2016's Fences, which I'm sure you all remember. He starred with Viola Davis, and that was quite a riveting performance for both of them. And produced 2020's May Rainey's Black Bottom, which also appeared on Netflix, and in the past has spoken of his desire to complete the playwright cycle on screen. And Denzel says, quote, "The estate of August Wilson came to me and said, we would like to put August Wilson's plays in your hands for you to produce and direct for film." And Washington told this to Chaz Ebert during an interview at the American Black Film Festival in Miami. And Denzel remarked, "I'm just the guy for the job." So the cast of Piano Lesson, Samuel Jackson plays Doker, John David Washington plays Boy Willie, Ray Fisher plays Lyman, Danielle Detweiler plays the sister Bernice, Michael Potts plays Whining Boy, Corey Hawkins plays Avery, and Skylar Lee Smith plays the little girl, Bernice's daughter, Maritha. It was very, I would say, riveting, very well done. The cinematography was very good. And it takes you kind of away from the stage production of a play because it fully looks like a movie. It's not on one stage. It's not taking place in one or two rooms, as some other adaptations might tend to do so that you can remember that it was a play. No, this is like a full movie. And watching the after discussion, there's like a whole part of it after you watch the movie where John David Washington and Malcolm Washington and Danielle Detweiler, Denzel Washington and others a part of the production discuss putting the film together in such a way where the language and where some of the adaptation would feel more contemporary as opposed to being set in the, just the 1940s or in that time period where the language is so different and where some of the maybe colloquialisms or types of ways that the interaction would be between characters would seem dated. And so Malcolm Washington, the show's director and screenwriter, discussed making it a point to make it a lot more contemporary. You will note that there are some supernatural elements in this film. So if you're someone that enjoys supernatural elements, particularly with African-American hoodoo and African spirituality, you will see some connection with that, as there is an aspect of haunting and ghosts and even calling on ancestors for help. So that, spoiler alert, that is a part of the film, but it's done in such a way that you can understand it's due to a family disagreement and due to a lot of, I would say, tension between the brother and the sister character. But it's definitely very good and it's a must watch. And even once you watch it, you'll probably want to see the play or read the play by August Wilson so you can see how it all comes together. But it's definitely a beautiful work, and congratulations to the Washington family and all of the players involved in bringing this work to life, now available on Netflix. So moving on, now I want to discuss Kendrick Lamar, which you all, if you haven't heard already, it's all over the net that Kendrick Lamar, the West Coast rapper, the one who created the diss track, They Not Like Us, and it really became a whole Black cultural anthem, even across HBCU homecomings and whatnot. So Kendrick Lamar has a new album, and fitting that, you know, he would need to follow up with that blockbuster song, They're Not Like Us, with a full album. Surprise, it dropped on, Friday, November 22nd, around 12 noon without any warning. A teaser was placed on YouTube. And of course, there are lots of photos and different teasers on social media as well. Check out some of the people who feature on this album, including, SZA. There's several different collabs going on here. So we've got Dottie Six shows up on a track, Lefty Gunplay, Willie the Stencil, Roddy Ricch, Atchike, I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. We've got Hitta, and actually SZA is on a few songs for this album. So I listened to some of it over the weekend. I didn't get a chance to listen to it all, but there's definitely some bops on this album. Whacked Out Murals, that's like track number 1. I listened to that, and I feel like it's really like an intro track. I feel like, Kendrick is like introducing his new purpose, right, in hip hop right now. I thought that Squabble Up has a really, really nice beat. It actually reminds me of Too Short, like some old Too Short beats. Luther, the third track, which features SZA, and it uses that line from Luther's song, If This World Were Mine. And you remember that was like a duet that Luther had. So that kind of like is a repeating chorus in the song. And the song has several other tracks: Man at the Garden, Hey Now, Reincarnated, TV Off, Dodger Blue, Peekaboo, Heart Part 6, GNX, and Gloria. So according to the new, let me just go back to, so you all know that just in May, They're Not Like Us, or Not Like Us, was released in May, and it was really a diss track toward Drake. And at that time, Kendrick had not put out any recent albums, okay? I mean, we know that Kendrick won a Pulitzer Prize for his album Damn some years ago. And he's just, he performed as well a few years back at the Super Bowl, and he's set to perform at this year's Super Bowl. So it's really interesting just how his, transformation, or rather reintroduction to hip hop, is coming about. Definitely this will give the fans of Kendrick something to look forward to with the Super Bowl. So he'll have a whole new set of songs he can perform, other than, Not Like Us, which we know that song very well. And so going back to a new Billboard album, a Billboard feature, is that they're saying that, he'll have plenty of new music. As I mentioned, heading into the Super Bowl, he's already garnered several Grammy nominations earlier this month, 5 of which came as a result of Not Like Us. And I'm sure he's set to get more nominations, probably the NAACP Image Awards, and maybe even MTV and others will definitely acknowledge him. So shout out to Kendrick Lamar, and congrats to him on his new album. So last but not least, I was really only going to talk about a few topics tonight because I do have another podcast. So I wanted to get into Sean Combs a bit. It's just really been on my mind. I'm not going to really make any personal commentary But you guys know, according to the various news outlets, sources, Sean Combs has been in jail for the past few months for charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. If you're not quite sure what those charges are, what they mean, you can look them up. So there was I believe if this is not his second, maybe a third bail hearing, his attorneys have been trying to get him out on bail. They had a recent hearing, it looks like on Friday at the end of this week. And the judge did not make a determination as of yet as to whether Sean Diddy Combs is going to be out. Now, recently he had a birthday, I think maybe a few weeks ago, and there were a flurry of social media posts by his family wishing him happy birthday. And, you know, some people saying, hey, that's really, you know, going to pull on the heartstrings of the public because these are his children, in which, you know, no one wants to see anyone's kids in harm's way or anything like that. So the question is whether Sean Diddy Combs is going to be released on bail or not. According to the New York Times, the judge said that he would decide next week. And that means that for now, Sean Diddy Combs is in a detention center in Brooklyn, New York. His overall trial is set for May. And it looks like there have been recent activity, whether them saying him making phone calls or writing notes to his attorney, and that some notes were taken from his cell and turned over. There was a question about some type of potential witness tampering and things like that. I'm really not sure what determination the judge has made or will make on that. But according to the New York Times, it says the central question of his recent hearing was whether he could be trusted to follow his lawyer's commands and follow the specifications of his release if granted bail. It also says that prosecutors have accused Mr. Combs of contacting grand jury witnesses, and there's a whole bunch of details that go along with that. So, and I'll just say allegedly. Okay, so yeah, it's definitely been a case that many people are watching and following. I do not condone any type of, abuse toward women, children, toward men, or anything like that. What is so interesting about this case is that here we have an entertainer, a very well-known, famous entertainer who has been charged with some very serious charges, allegations, and what have you. And the last time we saw something like this, in terms of someone in Black entertainment, in Black culture, it was relating to things dealing with R. Kelly. So in any case, we'll just have to wait and see what the judge has to say, whether he will be released on bail or not. So that's due to be determined, possibly sometime in later this week. Okay, you guys, so that's all I have for you all for That's Code. I'm DuEwa Frazier, and I'm signing off for the evening. Well, not exactly for the evening. I have another podcast, but I'm signing off of here. I hope you guys have a great evening and a blessed start to your week, and stay tuned. Thanks for watching.